Hey, Bob, you're watching Dolly Vision.
The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Chat's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing? Shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Jumping up, Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Chat's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing? Shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, king of peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. This will be podcast number 3. Now, guys that are watching here on YouTube, the audio from this recording will be placed on Spotify, Amazon Music, and everywhere else that your favorite podcasters are post. You can just go on Alexa and say, Don't Wake Up Dead podcast, and it will play. And for everybody that's listening on Spotify and Amazon Music, you can also check out the live show on YouTube. Dolly Vision is the name of the channel. What is going on, all my beautiful people in the chat? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about Melodee Buzzard, the little 9-year-old girl that mysteriously went missing out of California, and her mother is not cooperating with the police. We're also going to be talking about the easy sentencing that Jake HARO got in the murder case of Emmanuel HARO. Also, as we know, there has been an arrest in the Monkey Vaughan case. If you've been living in a cave, well, there's going to be multiple arrests, but right now we have one arrest that's been made, and that is of Stacey Wondra. Now, you may have seen him before here when he did his interview here on Dolly Vision, okay? And we're going to be discussing some of that interview, what's going to happen moving forward with Stacey Wondra and the other people that are responsible for the disappearance of Monkey Vaughan. But first, of course, I'm going to need you guys that are watching live to leave your DNA and your fingerprints all over that like button here on YouTube, and make sure if you're not subbed up, you sub the channel and share us everywhere. Okay, share us to your meemaw, your pawpaw, and everybody in between. Okay, I want to give my warning because all these people have not been convicted, and you got to remember, everyone is innocent to proven guilty. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories, mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing as a fact. It's just our opinion, people. Everyone is innocent to proven guilty in the court of law. Callers' opinions are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on Dolly. And the biggest one of them all is do not try to be me at home. It is dangerous. Your head could explode, and you don't need that. All right. We're going to jump right into the Melodee Buzzard situation because this seems to be the big case that's going on right now. The mystery. Where is this little girl at? The police have been putting out more information about the path this woman took. Okay. And, we were last thinking that Melodee was seen on the 7th at the rental car place, but actually the last time she was seen was October 9th. Now, images from October 9th have not been released, but apparently when the mother went on this path, she actually was bringing Melodee back with her all the way up into Utah. So technically, Melodee Buzzard was last seen on the way back in Utah. Now, this is where things get strange. At this point, the mother, at some point on the way back, it is believed that the mother changed the tags to the vehicle. Okay. At some point, maybe a little bit on the way there, but at some point she changed the tags because on the way back, she was seen with a totally different set of tags on it, a set of New York tags. Okay. The question is this: where did this lady get a set of New York tags? Did she go out and steal the tags? Okay, because we've been looking for reasons why they haven't arrested this mother yet. Okay, because they really don't have anything. It's this little gray area because she didn't report her daughter missing, and there's really no laws that she broke by not cooperating with the police. It's not against the law to not cooperate with the police. All right. You don't have to tell them nothing unless you're charged with something, and then you can still plead the fifth, get a lawyer, and not say nothing. It's up to them to prove that you have committed a crime. Now, at this point, they haven't been able to get this lady on anything. They have had search warrants. They went in and searched her home. They have took things from the home. It is alleged neighbors have seen forensics teams inside the home, and they took out a piece of carpet, some drywall, a couple plastic yellow bags. And at that point, the police showed up, and Ashley Buzzard, the mother of Melodee, cooperated with the police. She walked out of the house voluntarily, got into the police car in the front seat, drove off while they continued to search the house and do everything they were doing in the house with forensics. I'm sure they were in there spraying luminol and stuff like that, looking for blood, because at this point they must think this little girl is dead. Now, for the longest time, I've been saying I think that they're hiding this little girl somewhere. It don't make sense. I believe the mother has some delusions and she's on the paranoid schizophrenic side. We do know, coming from her family, she has some mental health issues. Not quite clear what those mental health issues are, but some people say she's just bipolar. And I don't think that would have her wearing disguises when she goes out the house, wigs, and her daughter in a disguise, and all these things of her thinking somebody's out to get her is what I truly believe. So the police are putting out these maps, hoping that somebody along this path has seen something and will say something, because basically a little girl in a wig probably would stand out to you if you was somewhere in one of these areas, right? So now we know that the car had New York tags. So at first they were looking for the car with, California tags because it came from the rental place. But she took the rental tags off and put New York tags on the car, which is very, very strange. And the mother really has no motive to hurt her child. In all these cases of missing children, the first thing we mainly look for is a motive, right? What reason would they have to hurt their child? Now, there are people up here on the internet that believe she may have sold this child because she was in debt. But if you look at her debt, she's roughly around the $8,000 mark in debt. A few years ago, she filed bankruptcy, so she can't file bankruptcy again on that debt, but it's not like she owes a huge debt. Now, I believe this woman in her mind believes somebody is out to get her. All right. And I believe that Melodee Buzzard at this point is alive somewhere with one of her friends. Now, the place she went, she used to live, right? She used to live in these locations. So does she know people in these locations? That is the question. And does she know somebody that would actually help her hide Melodee? Now, at this point, if you have this child, you're technically not breaking the law. Okay? Because technically, this little girl hasn't been reported missing by her mother. And the mother has the right to go out of her town with her daughter. She has the right to leave her daughter with people if she feels fit. And that's not against the law. It's just like right now, if you took your child to a babysitter and the police came up and knocked on your door and said, hey, where's your child? And you said, well, listen, I don't talk to the police. I don't trust the police. I got nothing to say to you. You have not broken a law. You have every right in this world to do that. Now, would most people do that? Probably not. Probably not. They would be like, well, my daughter's at the babysitter. Here, let me call her for you, let you see that she's okay. So these problems would go away. But soon as you don't show where your child is at, of course, they ain't going away. Not at all. It's going to get worse for you, and more police are going to show up, more CPS are going to show up because they want to know where this little girl's at. But we've already over the 3-week mark, and this woman, Ashley Buzzard, is still not in jail for nothing. Now I'm thinking they know she broke the law. Okay, they know she broke the law. One, putting illegal tags on a vehicle is against the law. In some states, it's a felony to switch the tags on a vehicle. Okay. So right there, she broke the law. Why are they not arresting this lady, putting a little more pressure on her to find out what has transpired? Okay. Now, of course, with these searches, did they do data searches to search her phone, to search her computers? Who was this woman talking to in the lead up to the disappearance of Melodee Buzzard? I think her phone or her computers may hold the answers to these questions that we seek, right? Now, as I've looked at this, I can't find any reason for this lady to unalive her child. Now, if we look at the situation and that the family has been trying to get custody of this child. Okay. They've been trying to get her to give the child to the father's side, right? The father died in a motorcycle accident was when Melodee was 6 months old. Okay. So his mother, his sister, and all of them have been trying to get Ashley Buzzard to give Melodee to them. Okay. Which to a mental person with a mental health problem, this may be where the paranoia comes in, that people are trying to take her child. All right. Because she had another daughter. That daughter went to live with its father. Now people are rumoring that CPS took that child and gave that child to the father. So that means this woman's already lost one child. And maybe this is why when people came a knocking, she decided, hey, let me hide my child. You're not taking another child from me. Now, this is just a theory of mine, right? Just a theory, because there's nothing that makes sense to where this woman would go, okay, I've raised this child for the last 9 years. Let me just unalive it. But if you was going to do that, okay, it could happen, right? It could happen. We've seen mothers do it. Leilani Simon in Georgia, basically had 3 children. She only disliked one. She threw that baby in the trash. Okay. And she raised them for a good while before she did it. So she didn't just immediately kill the baby. Like, some women have babies and they throw them in the trash can when they're born. Okay. The Vizio girl, I forget her first name, but she was the one that was in the hospital, went into the bathroom, gave birth, threw the baby underneath the trash in the trash can, and she's still not in jail. Okay. So it's a crazy one. So I don't see any reason why. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but my whole point in this one is if she was to say to unalive the baby or the little girl, 9 years old, why would she drive halfway across the country with the girl alive? Okay, so she drove halfway across the country and some of the way back with this little girl alive. Why wouldn't she have just unalived her in the house? So, they went in and searched the house and they removed these things out of it, but none of that is evidence because here's the facts. Later on, we learned that the little girl was with her on the trip, and we know that little girl made it at least halfway back on the trip. So there's no way she made it halfway back and she was unalived in that home. So that house itself is not a crime scene. So at the point right now, the only evidence or any crime that they got that this woman has committed is switching up the tags on the rental car. Now, if they arrest her for something simple, let's say for the rental car, this would put her in a situation where maybe they could go to a judge. And I'm surprised this hasn't happened yet. The CPS, Child Protective Services, goes in front of a judge and say, hey, we think this baby, young lady may be in danger. We need the mother to produce the child. Then the courts can order her to produce the child, which I don't think this has even happened yet. And we're 3 weeks in. They originally threatened her, hey, you got 3 days to produce a child, blah, blah, blah. And then they didn't do anything to her. Okay, nothing to her whatsoever. Now, if this hasn't went in front of a judge and this ain't ordered by a judge and she is not cooperating with the courts, then she's obstructing justice. And then you could arrest her for obstruction of justice, which is a misdemeanor crime, right? A lot of people are saying, why is she not charged with criminal child neglect? Because there's a gray area there. How do you know the child is being neglected, right? How do we know the child is not being taken well care of and she's with a friend? We don't know because her mother has said nothing, absolutely nothing. And if anything, this is super bizarre, but not criminal, right? And if you do arrest her on these things, will she fully quit cooperating? Right. And I mean, she's pretty much not cooperating, but she's at least leaving the house, answering the door, signing paperwork from whoever comes to the door. So she's not completely not cooperating, but she's definitely not talking. And if you arrest her, and this is the reason I'm thinking they didn't arrest her, is because she will completely shut down. She will lawyer up and not say anything. Right. And then where do the police go from there? Right. It's this weird gray area that we've been in for weeks where there's no proof that a crime has been committed. But we have a little girl that is gone. And anybody knows in a missing kid case, every minute matters, right? Especially if this woman has mental health problems and she's left this little girl with bad people that could possibly be abusing her. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming in. I see you jumping in the chat. Really scary situation. And I believe the laws need to be changed. And, there's really at this point, there's no Amber Alert out for this little girl, especially I think there should be one put out in all the states they travel through. But to issue a Amber Alert, you got to have a vehicle, which they do. But you got to have some sort of threat to the child's safety, abduction, or kidnapping to fit the Amber Alert criteria, right? And it don't really do that. It don't really do that. So, but the good thing about this case is it's been getting a lot of national attention. Everything from Court TV to Nancy to Ashley Banfield's been covering pretty much daily. To get the word out there that this little girl is missing. And we need to find her, or at least the mother needs to tell us if this little child is okay. You know, at this point, the FBI is involved. All right. The FBI is involved. And the manhunt and the time and money that is going into this, if this is to say there's nothing wrong, everything's okay, and she left this child with somebody, but the police are spending thousands and thousands of man hours in searching for this child, and basically is a hoax, right? The kid's okay. She's with a friend, and the mother's just not saying nothing, which is, like I said, completely bizarre. Now I want to ask you guys that are in the chat with us here, and let's just do a little poll. There's 530 of you in the chat with us now live. How many of you guys believe that little Ashley Buzzard is alive? Not Ashley Buzzard, Melanie. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Melanie Buzzard. If you believe she's alive, I want you to press 1 in the chat. If you believe that this little girl has met foul play, I want you to press 2 in the chat. Okay. I just want to see where our viewers think this case is heading. Now, there are a lot of ones popping up already. I do see some 2s. A lot of 1s, though. A lot of 1s coming in. Still some 3s. Like, people don't know what the hell's going on. I don't blame you. It's a little confusing or why somebody would do this. But I don't think you would take the time to try to hide your child, disguise your child, put fake tags on the car so nobody can follow you, and unalive your child. So I'm going to have to go with 1, that this little girl is somewhere out here. Somebody has her, and I don't know how they haven't seen on the news that this little girl is missing. But listen, most of us in true crime see all this, but there's a large population of people that don't watch true crime. You'd be surprised. Like a lot of my friends, they don't watch true crime. But there's a lot of people that do. And I'm sure all the people that do had know this little girl's missing. But the good majority of people, of the masses, probably have no clue that this little girl is even missing, right? She could be right in a town, a little city right near people, and nobody know, unless there's that one person that happens to watch true crime goes, hey, you know, I've heard about this story. This little, you know, she fits the description, because 1, she's wearing disguises. And if you've seen a little kid in a disguise, right, you know a wig when you see a wig. I do. I can tell when women are wearing wigs, when it's not natural looking. I mean, some wigs are really good, but how good of a wig is a little kid going to be wearing, right? So unnatural like that. Maybe it would stick out to you. Maybe it wouldn't stick out to you. But it appears that the wig she's wearing makes her hair appear to be a lot straighter. And I think a lot of problems with this case is they continue to show old pictures of Melodee when she was like 7 years old. Over the last couple years, Melodee slimmed down. She got a lot taller, and she lost a lot of that baby weight that she was carrying in the early pictures. It's weird when parents don't have recent pictures of their kid. My daughter's 25, and you know, I can pull out a picture from a couple days ago. It seems like most parents would have a ton of pictures of their kids, right? And this don't seem to be the case in a lot of these missing kid cases. If we look, you know, kind of like Sebastian Rogers, they didn't have any recent pictures of Sebastian Rogers. They really didn't have any recent pictures of Jack and Lily. Summer Wells, they had pictures of. Who else is, of course, Michael Monkey Vaughan, they had pictures of. But it seems like these parents that may have bad intentions tend not to take too many pictures of their children. Emmanuel had like 3. Yeah, he was small. But that, you know, of course, they didn't have many pictures of that child either. And I guess it's a matter of how much you love your child. Like most people are snapping away. Yes, Dolly, I noticed she had her baby teeth in the school picture. Yes. And you know, you'll be surprised at how much a child can grow over a couple years. Pink Rose says, let's get on the Blessed Express. Let's get the Blessed Express started. Thank you for your support to the channel, Pink Rose, and thank you for being here with us. You know, you ain't blessed unless you own the Express. So the mystery thickens, right? The plot. What is going on? It's like a Honey Child says, who is Melodee's dad? Where does his family live? I need more questions answered. Well, her dad passed away, honey, when she was 6 months old. He died in a motorcycle accident, tragically. The family lives right there in California, his family. Okay, the mother, the sister, Melodee has a big family, and but she had cut the family off a couple years ago, right? She wouldn't let anybody see the kid. She didn't want anything to do with her family, and not just her husband's family or her baby daddy family, but her own family. She cut her own mother off too. So nobody's have seen the kids in a couple years, which is bizarre. And, you know, like I said, this lady, I think myself, I don't think she may be bipolar, but I think she has some other problems too with paranoia, maybe schizophrenia. I mean, I'm not an expert. I can only throw my thoughts out there, but it's totally bizarre. So she has a lot of family, and they're right there in California. Matter of fact, they're showing up at her house. They're knocking on the door. She's coming to the door, and she's like, hello. But she won't answer their questions either. They've been asking her where Melodee is, and she just says, have a nice day. I hope you have a wonderful life and shit like that. It's totally bizarre. Thank you, Cable, for jumping on the Blessed Express, supporting the channel. PJ, of course, is with us on the train. She says, choo choo, love you also. Thank you for tuning in. From work. PJ's listening from work. Let's see if I missed anything else in the chat. If she is using, she could have drug-related schizophrenia, which is a real thing. I don't think the mother is using drugs, but is the mother involved in some stuff that we don't know about? Is she involved with some really bad people that are out to get her, and she's just not saying anything because she's scared of somebody, right? Or she wouldn't be wearing disguises. She wouldn't be acting the way she's acting. She would have no reason to want to hide her kid. Is she hiding it from the other side of the family because she believes the family's going to take her? Or has she got involved with some really bad people and she ain't saying anything? And maybe these people threaten her child. You know, there's rumors that even little Summer Wells may have been kidnapped over drug debts. So what if she was using, or she is in debt to somebody else for a large amount of money? I ain't talking about the $7,000 credit card bills, but how she been paying for everything else, right? What if she's in debt with somebody else and that those people have threatened her and her child? But you would think, and what if it was somebody bad, like the cartel? Now you got to remember, in California, you have a lot of immigrant gangs and Mexican mafia and stuff like that. I mean, it's true. It's there. And believe it or not, with these open borders, a lot of bad people have come into our country. So I don't know if it's something like that, that she has actually got somebody after her and she's scared for a reason, but it appears to me that she's scared of something and she's used this fear to hide this child, and she definitely ain't going to talk, right? Maybe she don't trust the police. You know, when you're into conspiracy, right, you believe that everybody is out to get you, right? That's how a lot of these conspiracy people are. Now, I don't know for a fact that this is the case with this mother, but I've been trying to think of every reason you would want to hide your child. Okay. Now, if it's on the flip side of the coin, she's crazy and she's just unalived her kid. But she's went through a lot to do that. Seems like a very lonely life for her to seclude everyone. What if she is protecting Melanie? I'm so confused at this point. Absolutely. It's very confusing. And I'm sure the cops and detectives are very confused by this too. And you know, they got to think the same way we think. Okay. They may have a little more information than we have. Right. But you know, we know she wasn't unalived on October 7th. That's when the images came out of her at the rental car place. Okay. At the rental car place. That's when the images came out, and she walked in. She was wearing a wig. She had on a gray hoodie with it pulled up over her head, and people were saying she was in a disguise. Now, I thought to myself, is it just a situation where she's a little girl? Little girls like to play dress up. She threw on one of her mama's wigs. Is it something like that? And at first, that's what I thought. But then once I realized that they switched the tags, that means this woman understood true crime. Okay. Because we know what? They have tag readers. They've been placed them all over the country, and they have tracked plenty of criminals just like this. Even Brian Kohlberger, tag readers, right? Spotted the vehicle, read the tags. And they've been placing these tag readers all over the country. So this woman knew to switch the tags. But my thing is this: if she knew that, she had to have known that the GPS in the car was going to give her locations away. Not only that, but everybody carries a tracker with them right now. Everybody. Me, you, everybody watching this, you carry a tracker with you right now. It is your cell phone. All right. This thing is tracking you everywhere you go within 5 or 6 feet of your location. Is this a situation where this woman disabled her cell phones? Right? Because you would think if you're smart enough to know that they're going to read your license plates, you got to be smart enough to know that they're tracking your phone. Right? Now, the rental car, of course, it'll track where that rental car went. But what if she met somebody somewhere? Okay, say we pull up to a location, another vehicle pulls up, I get out the car, I jump in your car with the child, we leave. Now it's tracking you to just where we met up and left. That don't mean that she didn't get into another vehicle or do something else at this point. And does she have somebody helping her? Because you have to ask yourself, where did she get the New York tag? Did somebody supply that tag for her? Because she didn't, on the trip, or did she just happen to see a car along the way that had a New York tag? See, I think the police should clear that up. They should release that. Did she already have this tag, or was this tag stolen on this trip from somebody? Like, was somebody in Utah from New York and she took their tags? Because if not, then somebody most likely supplied those tags to her, and somebody's working with her. Now, they act like this woman didn't have many friends, and that may be the case in California, but in like Utah and the other places, she used to live there. So at some point, she still had, if you look up her stuff, she still had addresses in some of these states. So she had to have known somebody. You don't go your whole life and not know nobody. And even if you're unsocial now, don't mean that you're always been unsocial. Like, so I think that's where things get tricky. It's illegal. Yes, it's definitely illegal to switch the tags on a vehicle, and she has broke some laws. But what state did she break the law in? You gotta ask yourself that too, right? Because it's where the crime was committed. If she stole tags from, let's say she did it in Utah, well, you broke the law in Utah. If you did it in Kansas, you just broke the law in Kansas. So then you get into jurisdiction, who arrested, where did she break the law at? Where did she get the tags at? How did she get the tags? Just because she had the tags don't mean she stole the tags. Somebody else could have stole the tags and supplied her with the tags. So it's just like a lot of gray area in this case, completely. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to, I'm thinking any day they're going to do something. They can't just let the little girl go missing, because I just don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. Where do we go from here? I mean, a judge is going to have to order something, or they're going to have to charge her with something at some point. And I think that they're dropping the ball. California is not the toughest place on crime. We just seen that with Jake HARO going to court. He got basically 25 to life for unaliving Emmanuel HARO. Okay. But the thing about that is, you go, okay, if he had never been in trouble and they gave him 25 to life with the possibility of parole, I could understand it. But this man was on probation for basically almost beating his daughter to death. She has 10% brain capacity, right? She's bedbound and will need to be taken care of for the rest of her life. And then California has done gave this man 25 to life. So that means that one day Jake HARO will be out of prison. So basically, he murdered 2 childs. Now, the one little, his daughter is alive, but what kind of life does she have? Right? If she's on like a trach and in bed and has no normal functions, and somebody has to feed her and take care of her, and will never have a normal life. So basically, he took 2 lives and got 25 to life. To me, that's not justice, right? So there was no justice served for Emmanuel HARO. And not only that, but he didn't have to give this child location. That's the thing. Like, did he give them a location? But you got coyotes and stuff like that in the deserts out there. And for you guys that have not been to, I want to make sure I say this, Calabazan, where they live, San Bernardino, is nothing but the desert. Okay. They live in the desert. It ain't nothing but tumbleweed and cactuses. So, I mean, that child could be anywhere and you would never find this child. You would never in a million years find this. There's mountain ranges. There's, like I say, desert far as you can see. And if he did just throw the child out somewhere, wild animals have done got Emmanuel HARO. You got to remember, he's small. He was just a baby. And this child may never be found. So maybe he did try to tell him where it's at. And when we seen him on the side of the road on I-60, maybe that is where he dumped the child. But the child just wasn't there because animals have done grabbed him, trigger warning people as like a small snack. I mean, these animals, coyotes and stuff like that, they get rid of bodies of big people, most likely just a small baby. Or did he put them in a dumpster somewhere and this child end up in a landfill? But I think it's more likely that they were on to something when they were searching I-60 for Emmanuel HARO, and just animals have removed the child. And that's why they went ahead and charged him without the body, and he didn't give up the body. Like, if you didn't give me the child's body as the prosecutors, I would have been pushing for no parole, right? And that's what the judge should have did. And not only that, but the judge that released him the first time, the grandmother got up there and said the judge that released him should be sitting right beside him. And I agree with that. I 100% completely agree that the judge that let Jake HARO out for abusing his daughter, and this little girl had a cracked skull, a fractured skull, a broken leg, 3 broken ribs, and the child had ribs that were broken that were healing. So he had hurt her multiple times. He says he dropped her in the sink, giving her a bath. But listen, A lot of people have dropped their kids, okay, accidentally. Accidents happen, holding your baby and drop it, and ain't no baby had injuries like that. Okay, so this ain't like your typical drop the baby injuries. This is beating this baby with your fist kind of injuries. A grown man punching a baby in the head type, that fracture your skull. And as you're a young baby, your head is kind of I don't know the word. It's still forming. So it's not like, it's kind of not as easy to fracture his skull as you think. Okay, so he had to really went out his way to beat this child. And if the judge would have did his job, baby Emmanuel HARO wouldn't even have been here, because this monster would have been buried underneath the prison. Okay, but this dude failed at his job, and I believe he is retired at this point. The judge that, basically he didn't do any prison time. He was sentenced to prison, and he was basically sent home on probation just to kill another child, which is absolutely horrible. This man should really be on death row. California needs better laws to protect the children and just to protect their citizens. I believe it's too much of this whole catch and release things. And people made that clear when I was out in LA. They were like, listen, you can do whatever you want here, and all they're going to do is they'll arrest you and they'll immediately let you go. The only thing you can't do is you can't be homeless in Beverly Hills. They'll arrest you, keep you in jail. Like, they don't want the poor in Beverly Hills. But everything else, you can go steal something, they'll release you. Go steal a car, they'll release you. You go hurt somebody, they'll release you. Go try to camp out in Beverly Hills, your ass is going to jail, right? They don't want the poor around the rich. But other than that, you can basically do whatever the hell you want to do in California. And that's insane. Because, on the East Coast here, we don't play that. We got a place for you. It's called jail. And we'll put you in there quick and bury your ass up under it. I don't care what you do. You get jaywalk here, you'll go to jail. Hey, there's zero tolerance for crime where I'm at. I ain't none of this catch and release. It's catch and charge you with everything we can think about charging you with and some. We're building private prisons just to put people in. The more prisons you build, the more people that are going to be going, right? Because if you got a prison, you got to have people to put in it. So stuff that wouldn't have got you prison time before, oh, hell no, you're going to prison now, because it's money. It's then became a business around the country of putting people in prison, just not in California, because there's so many people. So they don't have room. They're overpopulated. So they just catching and releasing. Dolly, that grandmother also has a son who red rummed his girlfriend. Yes. And the grandmother said something I believe that they should have paid attention to. She said, I had a grandchild that died, and a lot of people believe they may have buried him with my grandson. Another grandson, right? Another grandchild. Now, I would say dig that grave up and see if Emmanuel's there. Would be one of those situations that I think should be done. But, maybe that's just speculation, and the grandmother's running with people on TikTok or running with things that people are saying in the family, but there's nothing that really leads to that, But this dude is definitely a monster, and he'll be in prison for at least 25 years. Also, he got 6 years, 8 months. 8 months after that 25 years. Some people are saying it's 30 years, but the way I heard the judge say it, I thought it was 25 years, 6 years running concurrent, and 8 months afterwards. But it could be 25 years plus the 6 years would make 31 years plus the 8 months. So 32 years before he's even eligible for parole. And he's 33 years old. So you're looking at somewhere around the time that he's 66 years old that he would be eligible for parole. I think that's too soon. Okay. I think that is absolutely too soon. Yeah, because he did like 100 and some days or something like that. So I don't know. 30 years is just not enough for me. I think that is very light for taking 2 lives. Well, one and 3/4. Let's say it like that. He took 1 3/4 lives, and that little girl would never have a normal life. He's a monster. You heard the grandmother say he destroyed the whole family. We still have the mother going to court in January. Okay, I'm back. Okay, a little bit of buffering going on there. Now, what is she going to plead? Okay, is she going to go in there and say she's not guilty after doing all this lying? Now, Jake has said he unalived the child, that it was him, right? So I think he, even in this, he's trying to protect Rebecca by saying, hey, this was me. I did this, right? Now, I don't know if he's going to show up to testify against her, but he didn't get a plea deal. Okay. Jake didn't get a plea deal. He got sentenced. There was no plea deal on the table. He pled guilty. He was sentenced. And I mean, they did it quick. Usually cases like this run on for years. He actually pled guilty and was sentenced within a matter of months. So a lot of people think he took a plea deal. Even me in the beginning, I thought he took a plea deal, but he didn't. He just pled guilty to the crime and wanted a speedy trial. He got a speedy trial. He didn't get no favoritism. He was sentenced according to the judge, right? And, no jury, just a judge. So it ain't like he has to keep a deal, right? So I doubt we see him testify against Rebecca HARO. One, they're married. They don't have to testify against each other. So I think she's going to go in there and she's going to plead innocent, right? I think that's what she's going to do. And frozen Dolly. Okay, hold on. Hopefully everything will be working. If everything's working for you guys, give me the thumbs up in the chat. I think they had a pack and plan this. Well, if that's the case, it reminds me of Harmony Montgomery's dad and Kayla Montgomery. Wasn't that her name, Kayla? Yeah, Kayla Montgomery and Adam Montgomery. They planned it. They knew they were going to get caught. They knew they were going to go to jail. She was to point at him and he pointed at her, and then she got released and he went to prison. And so they planned this, and they knew they planned it. They even brought it up in court that they planned this. She even said, he told me to blame him. Right? So thank you, Nina Drew, for jumping on the Blessed Express with us. So it may be some of this. They knew they were going to jail. Even the grandmother told them, I'm going to be at your sentencing, before he was even arrested. And she was like, look me in the face. Look me in the face. I'm going to be at your sentencing beforehand. And so she knew he did it, and the family knew he did it. And I think when they were saying that the baby was kidnapped, the family already knew. Like, the family knew, and they were just kind of going along with things, waiting for it to come out, right? Because the grandma didn't really know, right? The grandma, she just thought like, yeah, this dude's bad. And you got to think about this. If you had a family member that beat their kid so bad that the kid is bedbound, and then their next kid goes missing, you got to know they did it, or at least think that they did it. Okay. At some point, you got to be like, yeah, that's going to be your number one suspicion of what is going on is that these people had some part in this. And we got to see what happens with Rebecca. Now, we know Rebecca was an abused woman. There's no doubt in my mind. As a man, I can look at her and tell she's abused. She had 2 black eyes. And it's hard to be like, maybe she's scared of this man. But at the point that she was in jail and she was away from him and she knew he was going to prison and he would never be able to hurt her again, she should have talked. And if she did, I would have some leniency for this mother. I'd be like, man, she was beat on and she was scared. She shouldn't have lied, but maybe she did that out of fear. It's hard to say that now, right? It is. I mean, it is true she's abused, but at some point, she had every opportunity to talk. Hey, Dolly, did you hear about the 2-month-old baby girl unalived by her parents? Hold on, guys. Let me stroll up and finish reading this. It's moving kind of quick. Teller and Kaylee, injuries include broken spine. No, I didn't hear about that. But if you could, shoot me some information on it to my email, jimmyjams757@gmail.com, and I will check into that, right? That is crazy. Like, what is with all these people hurting kids? Listen, I don't think in our country we set a good enough example of what we would do to monsters, okay? There's monsters out here, and hurting a child is the worst thing you can do. I think it's the worst crime humanly you can commit on this planet. I mean, listen, serial killers bad. I think serial killers we should execute immediately, and people that hurt kids, unalive kids, we should execute immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. When we find you guilty in the court, we walk you out that court, take you outside, tie you to a stake, and light you on fire like the Salem witch trials. I just do. Because then when people see that, they go, I ain't hurting my child. I'll be the next one to go up in a flame screaming unbelievably, right? I think we need public executions are important because it shows people that there's consequences for their actions. And I truly believe that. I am an eye for an eye person. I believe in capital punishment. I believe you hurt anybody or take anybody's life, you don't deserve to be on this planet. I mean, I would pull the switch myself if they still had old Sparky, right? And did away with old Sparky. And they say, well, it's not a humane way to take a life. Well, I'm sure all these people that beat these kids to death or stab people or strangle people or shoot people, is that humane? You wasn't thinking about how humane somebody else's life was when you was taking it. We can't be easy on criminals in this world. We need to set clear guidelines. You do something horrible in this world and you're going to leave here. It's just the way I feel. I know what people say, Dolly. Well, when you do that, sometimes you get the wrong people, right? We execute the wrong people. Here is the original super chat. Thank you, Forget Me Not. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for being here with us. There's some innocent people. Now, if there's clear evidence, you got to go. If there's a little bit of doubt, right? I don't know, doll. I don't know if I got your email or not. If there's a little bit of doubt, just a little bit of doubt, then I say, okay, yeah, then we give you an appeal. We bring you through the court process. But soon as that's over, the second time, we take you outside and you leave this world. This whole paying for people to sit on death row, murderers to sit around and watch cable TV, eat oodles and noodles, and able to hurt other people in the prison system. No. We looked at Austin Drummond. Remember him? He's the one that just unalived that whole family. They showed pictures from prison he was in, and he was in Supermax. This man had a TV, he had a Nintendo Switch, he had a PlayStation, had the whole cell filled with food. He had drugs. He was drinking Ciroc liquor in the prison. No, we're not sending you to somewhere you can live a decent life. Prison should be miserable. Okay. It should be miserable. I seen something today that was really good. It was on YouTube. I might have to share it later with you guys. But it was this warden, and he had this thing called the Warden Burger. Okay, the Warden Burger. And he was getting a lot of heat about it because if you acted up in the jail, they would put you in solitary, and 3 meals a day they would feed you the Warden Burger, which was like this burger that looked nasty. It looked absolutely nasty. And they were getting on to the warden about basically being inhumane and feeding these people this burger called the Warden Burger. And it was ground up turkey, carrots, and a bunch of just nasty shit thrown into a mushy patty and put on 2 pieces of stale bread. Okay. And you could be in solitary for 10 days. So you would eat that 3 times a day for 10 days. Right. So the warden got on the news and he said, look, he had one of the Warden burgers up there and he was like, he was eating it. And he said, now me, I'm not too picky about food. He goes, but when you come to jail, you ain't got your mama cooking for you. You ain't got your auntie fixing up this good dinner. You know, I'm responsible for feeding you, and this is what you're going to get. He goes, and she goes, well, would you eat it? He goes, well, I'm eating it right now. He goes, now, would I want to eat it 3 times a day? Probably not. But that would keep me from wanting to come back here. He said, because, you know, if you make it so bad in the jail, people might go before they break the law, go, well, damn, I don't want to do that. I don't want to eat that Warden burger 3 times a day. And he used it as an incentive to keep people behaved in the jail. Now, if you didn't act up, you got a normal tray with food that probably wasn't edible either, because jail food's nasty, right? Just, ugh. But this was even more nasty. And so it was just to make, you know, people act normal in jail, to stop fighting and stuff like that. Because if you do, you're going to the hole and you're going to be eating a Warden burger for 3 days. So you had the whole point of that is being tough on crime is the most important thing. That's why I say that these people, when you kill all these people and then you go to the death row, right? Usually people sit on death row so long that the death penalty gets overturned. Like there was people sitting so long on death row here in Virginia, right? Waiting to get executed. Virginia did away with the death penalty. So what they do then is then they go, okay, well, now you got life in prison without the possibility of parole. So these people that were sentenced to die, technically sentenced to die, don't die. Okay. So the families that were, you know, got their justice, right? Because you killed someone's loved one, and now you take that justice from them. My thing is this: if you do away with the death penalty, okay, say we did away with the death penalty, but you've been sentenced to death before the death penalty went away, I say we execute you. Okay, we execute you. You got sentenced to death. You need to die. That is your punishment. That's what was handed down to you. Just because the state goes, well, it's inhumane. Well, at the time that he was sentenced to death, it wasn't. These people should still be getting executed right now. Now, moving forward, people shouldn't, because they done away with it, right? They should be getting life. Because then that family going to court, they know, okay, well, he got life without the possibility of parole. He'll never get out. These families thought they got justice and these people were going to be executed, and they wasn't. That is horrible. Now, somebody that is facing the death penalty is Mr. Stacey Wondra, Fruitland, Idaho. And for you guys that have been here with me a while, we interviewed Stacey Wondra and his wife, Sarah Wondra, right here on this channel. He gave every excuse in the world that he wasn't a killer, that he wasn't a monster. And I knew that this guy was a terrible human being. Pretty nasty, disgusting guy at that. You know, basically while we were interviewing him live here on the channel, he was digging in his nose, burping, farting, and rubbing his face after he just been digging in his nose. Okay. Enough to make you slightly throw up in your mouth. And he was talking about how if he was charged, that he was going to sue the state and he was going to be rich, and he had all these lawyers. Yes, they will go out tonight, Nina. Okay. The tumblers will go out tonight. Me and PJ's getting that ready for you tonight, probably. Once I print them, it's on PJ. So she's got orders. So they'll probably most likely be going out tonight. He sued the United States of America. Okay. He went full JLR. And you know what they say? Never go full JLR. Okay. Just don't do it. Right. But he made it clear that if people said anything about him or accused him of these crimes, that he was going to sue them. He actually put something out that said, let Dolly know. He says my name. I'm going to sue him. Now, do I look like I am worried about getting sued by this man? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No care in the world about getting sued by this man. This man is a monster. He'll be lucky he don't get the firing squad. But he's a coward. He will take a deal. All these times he sat up here on the internet and did his world tour like Motley Crue. He will cry for himself and he will take a plea deal, just like Brian Kohlberger, that he did it. When you facing that firing squad and you know they're going to find you guilty, ain't no jury in the world. And I hope my interview, and I'm pretty sure it will be, because there were some damaging things in that interview I did. Now, I interrogated this man like I worked for the police force my whole life. I think I've watched, Next 48 so many times that I hit this guy with so many things he said so many incriminating things in the interview. I think my interview was the best of everybody's. Now, I ain't just saying that because it was me. I'm just saying that because he gave up more in that interview than he did with a lot of other people. And it's that build that trust with him and walk him into everything you want him to walk into. And he did. He the first time ever he admitted to seeing a kid out there while he was on the side of the road. And in that interview, he said the kid was at the neighbor's house. How would he know these things, right? He said a lot of damaging things in that interview. And I will be there in court. Now, if they need me to testify against Stacey Wondra of what he said to me, of course, I will take part and I will testify against this monster. But I think just that interview alone, most people would convict you. Right? And you get convicted of first-degree murder in Idaho, they old school, like I said, it's the firing squad. So is he going to want to take that chance of the firing squad when he's a coward? Anybody that could hurt a little baby, that beautiful little boy, is a coward. That ain't a man. He ain't no man. He's probably scared of everything. He couldn't hurt another man. He could only hurt a kid. I think he's a coward. I think when he's faced with what's coming for him, he's going to confess. He's going to take a deal to second-degree murder, 25 to life, probably with the possibility or without the possibility of parole. With everything not being certain in this, I think they'll offer him parole in 25 to life. I think what'll happen to him is he's going to get 25 to life with the possibility of parole, and he's going to be in prison. And this dude, he's not going to live. I mean, he would be about the same age as Jake HARO, but Jake HARO looks like a healthy guy. This dude looks like he drinks gravy. Okay. I just don't know. He don't look to be the healthiest. So will he live that long in prison. And when you go to prison, you're going to prison for murdering a child. I don't think it's going to be good for him. I just don't think it's going to be good for him. And not only that, we got the situation of his wife completely involved, right? She's going to be charged with first-degree murder also, but she hasn't. Sarah Wondra, PJ interviewed her. And now, Milfy, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Sarah's a little bit more criminal. And what I mean by criminal, I mean she's a little more streetwise than Stacey. All right? She knows that there's things she can't say or she ain't going to say, because you can tell she's more, just listening to her interview, she thinks before she speaks. To whereas old dumbass, his mouth moves faster than his brain does. Into Savannah Soto, Matthew Guerrera in baby case, the stepmother of the killer has had all charges dropped. The stepmother? Well, the father in that Soto case is the one. This is a little off topic from what we're talking about, but I'll go there with you for a second. She lied and she covered stuff up, but the dad is the one that showed up and was cleaning up the car and helped, tamper with the crime scene, to say. So yeah, the stepmom, I can see them maybe letting the stepmom go. You know what I'm saying? Because they may use her, in to testify, or she gave information to that they needed. So, but I mean, the son and the father were the main culprits in that. And listen, I love my kid. I don't know if I love my kid that I'm going to cover up a murder for and get myself put in prison. I don't know. I'll be like, I may have to give you some tips over the phone, like get some bleach, and scrub it up good. But I ain't coming to help you wiping fingerprints off the car. Hell no. That, I know people want to protect their kids, but I just couldn't do that. I couldn't do that, and at that point you did something horrible. Even my child, she would have to pay the consequences for it. Now I would help her get a lawyer. So maybe she got less time, maybe the possibility of parole, but she would have to pay the price, and that's what that father should have did, but he didn't. He got involved in it. And, I could get you want to help your kid, but your kid is a monster, and he's out robbing people and over a little bit of weed. Like it wasn't even big money or nothing. It was like over change. And that's the bad thing about the world we live in today, is people will kill you for next to nothing, right? There was no reason to hurt Michael Monkey Vaughan either, right? Nina Drew, thank you so much for gifting that membership. There was no reason to hurt this child whatsoever. This man, I believe, is a predator. Stacey Wondra. I believe that he kidnapped Michael Monkey Vaughan, not because they wanted a kid. It's one thing you want a kid and you grab a kid, right? Because you're crazy and think this kid's going to love me as its parents, right? But that ain't what he grabbed Michael Monkey Vaughan for. He had other intentions, and sexually they were a little on the bizarre side. He's allowing people to sleep with his wife and strangers off the street and stuff like that. I truly believe, and Brandy, if you're listening, please turn this off. He wanted to essay a child. He is a predator. He is a monster, and he deserves the firing squad. His wife deserves the firing squad. The person that grabbed Michael Monkey Vaughan, Brandon Shirtlift, I hope you're listening out there. You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Okay. And I hope that time that you spend there is the worst, miserable time. And I hope people torture you just like y'all did that small child. I believe what you put into this world is what you get back. and all three of you, right? And possibly Adrian, the fourth person, you're all going to get what you have coming to you. It took a little while to get the justice. Thank you, Helena, for gifting those memberships. And if you got a membership from Nina or Helena today, make sure you thank them. You're going to get justice in this life, right? And then when you leave this planet, that's where the real judge is. And then you're going to get justice again, real justice. And you can't escape what's going to happen. You can run to the ends of this earth and they're going to track you down, Brandon. You're done. Sarah Wondra, you're done. Stacey, you nasty booger picking fat slob, you are done. Stick a fork in these people. They done. And he can threaten to sue everybody on the planet. Ain't nobody worried. You better do that from a prison cell. And I hope and pray that you do try to fight it. Because if you do try to fight it and don't take a deal, you're getting the firing squad. And then I'm going to be there. Any way you look at it. If they execute you, I'm coming. Okay? I'm getting my tickets. I know that for a fact. I'm going to be there. So, and I can't wait to see you in court. And when you start to cry, that's what I'm there for. Because all these people, all these monsters, everyone that I went to court for, from all of them, from Leilani to Megan Boswell to Adam Montgomery, they all cry, but they don't cry for their victims. They cry for themselves. They all do. But I'm there for it. I wish I could taste your tears, to be dead ass honest. But over these years, it's crazy that so many years have went by for us to get justice for this kid. When they finally lock you down, that's when we celebrate, right? Because it's too early to celebrate quite yet, all right? Because the sadness really kicks in that we know there's no chance that Michael Monkey Vaughan is coming home. We still have his picture on our stream that flips behind me, and I guess that one can come down. Okay, it can come down. Sad as it is to see him come down, the only thing that I would say saved this man's life for, the only thing, is they tell us where Michael Monkey Vaughan is. And now that ain't up to me. That's up to Brandy. But Brandy has shown these people so much grace that is unreal. Brandy Neal, aka now she's Brandy Vaughan. Her and Tyler did get married. She has showed these people so much grace that it is unbelievable. She's even told Brandon, if you tell us where you're at, I won't even prosecute him. She just wants the baby. Right? And they want to give Michael Monkey Vaughan the proper funeral that he deserves, right? Just like, Quentin Simon got that funeral. They found Quentin. Quentin came home and Quentin Simon got that funeral. Megan Boswell's child got that funeral. Not so much Harmony Montgomery or Cody Bigsby never was found. Some of these families, they just want the child so they can bury it and, and not be in a shallow grave somewhere or in a ditch or just, somewhere terrible where the family members that did love this child can actually go see the child. And that's what I believe that Tyler and Brandy want. Now, I can't speak for them. They can only speak for themselves, but I can tell you now, they are stronger and better people than I am, right? Because if I was in this situation, I wouldn't be making no deals with you. I would want you to face the firing squad, and especially with it being so many years. You know, I just think that these people should tell at this point, you know. And one of them, and I'm just and I know that the ones that are out, they're watching this stuff, right? They're listening. Probably Brandon, probably listening right now. Somebody better talk. If not, you're all going to get the death penalty. If not, you're getting life in prison. The first one to talk is the first one to walk. That's how I look at it. All right. Now, you will see more of this, right? Of Don't Wake Up Dead podcast here live with you guys. Now, the audio from the night, that first this hour and 15 minutes I just talked, it'll be a little bit of editing in it, but this will air on Spotify, Amazon Music, and you can just go to your Alexa and tell Alexa to play Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. Not today, but by this weekend. And well, there's a couple episodes already up. If you say Alexa, play Don't Wake Up Dead podcast, there's some stuff up about Summer Wells. There's some stuff up about Ted Bundy. And this will be the third show. Now, I was doing this independently, the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast show, but I just don't have time to do YouTube and the podcast. So now the podcast moves here to YouTube, and I'm going to do it with you guys live, a couple a week. Okay, live when you see the blue screen with the Don't Wake Up Dead. And then, of course, I'm going to move the audio over to Spotify and all those platforms so people can listen to the podcast. But when it gets to the podcast, it'll be a little bit edited. It'll have some music playing in the background, that type of stuff. And it may have some commercials or stuff like that involved in it, right? But we're trying to grow both of them simultaneously. So I'm going to thank you guys for, you know, that's why I didn't show any videos. Usually when I do true crime stuff, I'm showing a bunch of videos. It ain't just me talking. But on the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast, it's, of course, me talking for an hour. And then after that hour's up, that's going to air. That what we just did will air. Like now we can show videos and take phone calls and stuff like that. So that's how we will do the live broadcast of Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. All right. So you'll get an hour of me talking about the top cases that are going on. And then, of course, we'll roll into whatever after the hour's up of whatever we want to discuss or show and all that good stuff. So basically now I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I want to play some stuff from Court TV in the Melodee Buzzard stuff. Right now, this won't air on Spotify or what we're doing now, but that first hour, it may be edited a little bit, will air as a Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. All right. Love it, Dolly. Well, thank you. Now, this way I can do my YouTube and the podcast kind of simultaneously. It's basically how Ashley Banfield does it. She does it live, but then she airs it on, and so does Nancy. So basically, Banfield, Nancy, now Dolly, I'm doing it the kind of the same way. But once it drops down here and I record the audio, I'll add some music to it and maybe you know, just a couple like plugs, you know, about different things about the YouTube channel. And so when people listen to it there, they know how to find us here. And when people watch it here, they know how to find it on later on. If you're like at work and you want to say, well, I missed the last Don't Wake Up Dead podcast, you can be like, Alexa, play Don't Wake Up Dead podcast, and then it'll play your episode. And then, of course, moving forward, you'll see the same principle, but it'll say episode 1 or EP1, EP2, EP3, and so on. So you know how to follow it each show. So if you've seen 1, you know, you listen to 2. If you heard 2, listen to 3. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. They'll climb. Right now, I have to set everything up, but right now I know we're on Amazon Music. And all you got to do is, you got Alexa, just tell Alexa to play it. Right? Be like, Alexa, play Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. And it's already up, the earlier shows, but I stopped doing it for like a year and a half because I just didn't have time. I was doing so much YouTube stuff. And really, basically, all I had to do was take the audio from YouTube and put it there, and I could have kept it going. So I don't know why I didn't do that from the jump, but basically that's how every other podcaster is doing their podcast and their live. So, I mean, I could do it like here, but I'd rather do it live. So you get the live podcast and you get the replay podcast there. You're listening on Amazon? Okay. Did you pull it up? See, I know it's on Amazon. So if you just tell Alexa to play it, it'll play it. We run it from Amazon, Spotify, and all the other major outlets will carry my podcast. All right. I'm still setting everything up because I had started it 2 years ago, and then I kind of stopped and just focused on the YouTube. But now we're doing both at the same time. How many Alexas are going crazy right now? Probably a lot. So let me share the screen with you guys. We're going to pull up my cousin Vinny.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Investigators say Ashley has provided limited cooperation, leaving crucial questions unanswered. As search teams follow digital and physical traces, hope and heartbreak hang in the balance. Every passing day deepens the mystery. Where is Melodee, and what truly happened during that long drive across state lines? That drive is such an important part of all of this. This is a long drive, hours and hours and hours, thousands of miles.
See, Vinny basically does his podcast the same way, right? It's live, but then they take the audio and they use it for their podcast. So that's what we're going to do moving forward.
Let's bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, who is here in studio. Cody, let's get into this route that she took, where she started, where she ended up, where she drove through. What can you tell us?
Hey, Tone, why should people come to the AI Advantage Summit November 6th, 7th, and 8th?
That's a good ad, isn't it? Pretty simple. I'll tell you what it really is. We're in a situation where it happens.
Well, Vinny, of course, this is a long route that spanned across multiple states over the course of 3 days. Now, it hasn't been specified the exact route, like the exact roads and turns where they went to from California into Nebraska, the exact city in Nebraska. But let's take a listen to the spokesperson for the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office explaining the general route that they believe they took.
So we're generally focusing on, it's a pretty direct route from Lompoc all the way out to Nebraska, but we are making a point to emphasize that on the return trip that she did take what appears to be a bit of a detour down into Kansas and then back up along the regular route to return home. We don't know where along that route Melodee was or is, and that's really our area of focus. So we have 3 days that are our investigative time span. And then for the distance, it is from Lompoc all the way out to Nebraska, down into Kansas and back.
So, Vinny, you heard her say there, it's a pretty direct route from Lompoc to Nebraska. So we went on Google Maps just to see the quickest route from Lompoc to Omaha, Nebraska as a reference point. And we have the map for you here, and we begin in Lompoc. This is not the exact route, but just where Google Maps told us the quickest route would be to get from Lompoc to Omaha. So we begin in Lompoc, you then hop on the 101, headed down through Santa Barbara, down toward Los Angeles. So that's another major city. So we're on the coastline here in Southern California. Then you head through Los Angeles and you hop on Interstate 15, which takes you all the way up through the Mojave Desert to Las Vegas. So we've hit coastline, we've hit spans of desert. Now you keep on the Interstate 15 through St. George, Utah. Now as you navigate through Utah, you hit the Fish Lake National Forest as you continue on up through. Now you go through Utah, hop on Interstate 70, Now, 70 will take you through Grand Junction, Colorado, through the White River National Forest, all the way through to Denver. So we've hit coastline, we've hit desert, we've hit forest, and Vinny, of course, we know in Denver, it's full of mountains out there at the Rocky Mountains. And then, of course, our reference point, you keep going on over through to Omaha, Nebraska. Now, Vinny, as with any investigation, the police call upon the public to help out with anything that they've seen, anything they may have heard. On Facebook, this woman called in with a tip. Her name's Michelle Purdy. She says, quote, "I swear I saw this girl in Nebraska City on Sunday at the very end of one of the parking lot lanes at Walmart. I've already submitted the tip. I included my phone number in the tip. Is there anything else I should do?" Now, Vinny, remember the police said that the return trip from Nebraska dipped down into Kansas. So we just wanted to see where Nebraska City was in relation to everything. So we go back to the map. Nebraska City, you see there, is south, about 45 miles south of Omaha, down toward Kansas. So very interesting there, Vinny, with this tip coming in. But the other interesting thing, Vinny, is that this whole trip, one way from Lompoc to Omaha.
Now, see, I'm thinking this little girl is alive, completely alive, like that she's with somebody, she's dropped her off somewhere, and I take that as a credible sighting, right? Because it makes sense. And hopefully this person did see something, and this is a real clue.
Is a 27-hour drive, and that's according to Google Maps on the quickest route to take. And I even took it upon myself to we don't know exactly. We don't know they went to Omaha. We just know they went to Nebraska. I looked at a city right across the Colorado-Nebraska line, in Imperial, Nebraska. And even then, one way is still 22 hours, Vinny. So very strange to take a trip that long by car over a 72-hour period, over a 3-day period.
Yeah, Cody, great analysis of that route. Appreciate it. And that brings us to the first question in our investigation tonight. And obviously the most important question, where is Melodee?
Yes, this is a newer case.
She got in the car, she started, went on the route, did not return. Here to help answer that question, Scripps News Group reporter Crystal Bermudez, who's been on this case since the beginning, covering it more in depth than anyone else in the nation. She's in Santa Barbara County. Also with us, retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon, who specialized in searches. I'm going to begin with Bobby. Bobby, FBI is in on this one. How are they approaching this search with the information that she took this 3-day drive from Lompoc in Santa Barbara County to Nebraska to Kansas and back home?
Well, Vinny, the first crucial information they have is the mileage in on the car and the mileage out, right? So when she signed the car out, there's a certain mileage, and then when she turned it back in, there's the ending mileage. So they know exactly how many miles she traveled in that car. So like your reporter said, when they start putting that together, they can actually see, did she make it this far? Did she, because it's an out and back. So it's an easy kind of halfway kind of, because they know the mileage. So then that's where you first start, and you see all the different routes she may have taken with that mileage out and back. And then you start looking at maybe her cell phone was pinging off towers. If she was traveling with a cell phone, it could lead them to, certain areas that they want to take a closer look at.
Let me ask you, Crystal, the image of her, that's at the rental car facility, correct? And there's an alteration to her appearance?
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it.
Yeah, Vinny, that's correct. So the images that are now surfacing that detectives have shared with the public was from a local car rental agency in Lompoc. The only one in Lompoc is Enterprise. I have reached out to Enterprise to see if they can give me more context as Melodee and Ashley entered that day for the car rental, but I haven't gotten word back. But from what spokesperson Raquel Zick had informed me was that she does appear in those images wearing a wig. It's much different from her natural hair texture and color. It's straighter, it's darker, and in this one image on your screen right now, it is tucked in a gray hoodie. So one thing Raquel did point out is that this is a very distinct look. You can tell it's a bit off, and so that's why they are encouraging the public to recollect their memories if they have seen this particular outfit along with this wig. And Raquel did mention to me that Ashley Buzzard was known for wearing wigs. Detectives have confirmed that as well. So we see one of those wigs here on Melodee in these images.
So Bobby, as you sort of narrow down what you feel that the route may be, how extensive can you be? Like, do you start looking for surveillance video? Are you looking for license plate readers? How do you get the cooperation from all the potential municipalities and departments involved in this?
I mean, you start to see what a monumental task this could be, but this is kind of what the FBI does at times. And you throw a lot of manpower at it. You get all the different areas, and we've already seen some of the results where a woman sees this picture and she calls in a tip. I mean, that's what we need people to do. But now.
That's why it's important to continue talking about this story, continue sharing the little girl's picture, because right there we got one person already calling in swearing they've seen this little girl alive, which I'm hoping is the case, because there's really no reason to unalive this girl. And it's most likely, the chances are, she hid the child.
Now we have you try to narrow down that area so that people become more attentive in that area where you think these people may be. So that's what they're doing now. They're trying to narrow down those areas, and then you can kind of flood it with investigators who say, do you have, video, did she stop for gas? So you look, cars run on gasoline. So you have to look at all the gas stations that she may have pulled off. She's probably traveling by interstate. If she went out and back that quick, she's probably on major highways, interstates. And so you look at those interstates that she could have traveled on. The short time distance kind of helps in that respect, because we know she didn't take a lot of detours through country roads. She had to move fast. And so you look at those highways, you look at the gas stations where she may have refilled her tank and things like that. So you start to narrow it down. It is a monumental task, but it can be done if you have the manpower to do it.
Crystal, is there any significance to any of the cities on the way there or on the way back that have some connection or nexus to Ashley, to Melodee, to the family, to where she may have lived before?
Yeah, Vinny. So I actually got in contact with her mother, Lori Miranda, which is Ashley Buzzard's mother, in regards to this trip, if she knew any whereabouts or why she would make a trip that far out. She did tell me she wasn't aware or knew of anyone that Ashley may know in regards to any states along the route up into Nebraska or even Kansas, which was the stop they made on, Ashley had made on her return trip. She wasn't familiar with anyone that they may know in Kansas. She did tell me, however, they did have family in Las Vegas. So she believed maybe in the past she would get these car rentals and drive as far out as to Las Vegas. But as far as any other states that may have stood out along that route, she wasn't able to recollect any memories of her knowing someone in those areas or why she would need to travel that far out.
So Bobby, that would seem to be interesting, right? Significant. She has some familiarity with Vegas, but obviously you're in Vegas, but you end up in Nebraska. How much effort would you put towards kind of canvassing Vegas?
A lot, and I would be looking at her contacts on her phones or texts, or internet searches. Did she reach out for somebody? Did she meet somebody online recently that her mom may not know about? And did she travel to that person? And so I'd be looking at all of those things, but certainly Vegas is, with that information that she has family that she's visited previously, I would certainly focus on that. But that can be kind of done fairly quickly. And so if that hasn't been fruitful, then they've got to kind of take those next steps and go further east on this trip and continue that search. Look at her search histories. Did she search for any areas around this route? Did she meet anybody that might live online along this route or somewhere in this area? All of those things are being done.
And one last question, Bobby, before we run out of time here. The rental car, that from my perspective, I'm not a detective, I'm not an investigator, but it seems like there's a positive and a negative to it, right? The rental car companies do sort of track their cars to a certain extent, but then when you return them, the first thing they do is clean these things up. What are your thoughts about getting any sort of valuable evidence from the rental car?
Well, I mean, and we know that, like, they probably don't clean it to the extent that a criminal that's trying to execute some forensic countermeasures would clean them. Like, they don't take bleach to the inside of the car, for example, right? So, I mean, I think that they vacuum, they kind of wipe it down. But if there was any, like, forensic, now the kid was in the car, so you're not looking for hair or things like that because you would expect to find that. You're looking for blood and other, bodily fluids that may have been a result of an injury. And so, I mean, that stuff, you can wipe off, but you're not going to cover it up, with a detailed examination.
Bobby Chacon, always great to have your insight. Thank you so much. Crystal's going to stick around. Coming up next, is Ashley Buzzard dealing with mental issues?
I think she's definitely dealing with
The house
mental
was in
issues.
disarray. There were raw eggs in pans. There was rotten food in the fridge that I think she was trying to give my granddaughter.
The Court TV podcast will return.
We're all looking for answers, but, we're showing up today so that way, she knows we care. We're here for Melodee, and hopefully she will come out and tell us where she's at.
Very concerned neighbors for obvious reasons. There's a 9-year-old girl supposed to be living in that house, and no one knows where someone knows where she is, but no one is saying where she is. I want you to take a listen to this. This is Ashley Buzzard's mother, okay? So this will be Melodee's maternal grandmother speaking about Ashley.
He said, "Did you know that your granddaughter was missing?" And I said, "Missing?" He goes, "When's the last time you talked to your daughter?" I said, "I don't know, 2 years, a year and a half ago." The psychologist that I was seeing said, I said, "Should I be keeping these things? I keep buying them for her for Christmas and her birthday." She said, "If you keep them for her, she'll know that when she was gone, you were thinking about her. So that's why I keep them."
That's sad.
And sometimes I wonder, am I going nuts, right? About 15 minutes later, a sheriff calls me. He says, "I'm at your daughter's house in Orchid, and I was just getting ready to take your granddaughter Melodee with me to CPS because we're getting ready to take your daughter to the hospital." The house was in disarray. There were raw eggs in pans. There was rotten food in the fridge that I think she was trying to give my granddaughter.
That's the grandma talking about something. This is completely separate from the disappearance of Melodee Buzzard. This is another instance where the sheriff is very concerned about Ashley and her ability to care for Melodee. That brings us to the next question in our investigation. Is Ashley Buzzard dealing with mental health issues? With us to help answer that question, still with us, is Scripps News Group reporter Crystal Bermudez, who is live in Santa Barbara County. Also joining us, licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Jamie Zuckerman. Thank you both. All right, Crystal, can you give us a little more insight? You've been speaking to a lot of family members, and from what I gather, it seems like all of them sort of acknowledge that there is some level of mental health that Ashley is dealing with. Did anyone talk about a specific diagnosis? Did they talk about what they've observed?
Yeah, in that sit-down interview with Lori Miranda, Ashley Buzzard's mother, Melodee's maternal grandmother, she was talking to me about a situation, a separate situation, as you mentioned, that occurred back in 2016 when she received a phone call from an officer telling her to come to her residence. At the time, she had lived in Orchid, California. And when she arrived, she describes what she had seen. The house was quote unquote in disarray. There was rotten food in the fridge, and she had believed that she was feeding that food to her oldest daughter, Ashley's oldest daughter, Destiny. I did learn along the way as I was speaking with Lori that Ashley did lose custody of that oldest daughter. I have been trying to get in contact with her, but haven't had much luck. But I did want to share a statement from Ashley's aunts and other family members. They shared this with me earlier last week, and in part they wrote, quote, "As reported, after giving birth to Melodee, Ashley experienced the loss of Melodee's father 6 months later. We believe she may have been experiencing untreated postpartum depression in addition to the grief from the loss of Melodee's father on top of her mental health struggles. All this while trying to do her best to hold it all together as a single mom with little resources," end quote. And there's a full statement up on one of my articles on ksby.com, but Lori did talk to me about bipolar disorder that Ashley may have had. She talked about one time taking her to the mental hospital, and that's where she had been diagnosed by a psychiatrist. But when I mentioned to her the statement that was brought to my attention by other family members, which would be Melodee's aunts from her mother's side, she told me she has not been in contact with these family members, and she was not made aware of this statement, but did appreciate the statement that was passed along to me.
Dr. Jamie Zuckerman, okay, let's talk about this now. How do you figure out what's going on with mom? Because the big issue obviously is that her daughter's missing and she's just not talking to anyone.
Yeah, I think being uncooperative regardless is a red flag. And I said this before, that it's really a question of, is she hiding her or is she harming her? And we don't have enough information. We have family reports, but they haven't seen her in a long time. So per the family, she has mental health issues. And yes, it could be untreated postpartum from 2016 when Melodee's father died in an accident. We have to question, are there drugs and alcohol involved? Is it more of a serious mental illness like a bipolar disorder and a manic episode, or schizophrenia, which would result in paranoid delusions or disorganized thinking, disorganized behavior? So that could make sense. But we just don't have enough information to explain why she would do this, and more importantly, why she's being uncooperative. I think the bigger question is this because of a serious mental illness, or is this action of taking her child and driving across states something that is a deliberate and purposeful attempt to hide her, or, give her to somebody, or harm her for her own benefit? And I think that's the bigger question that we're waiting on.
Let me ask you this, doctor. If in fact she is suffering from some level of mental illness and is treated through treatment, could that perhaps change her posture here? And would that perhaps be a road to getting her to talk about what happened to Melodee, whether it's treatment through, speaking with her, whether there's any sort of drugs that she would need? Is that a possible road to getting to the truth here if she is suffering from some serious mental illness?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend, obviously, on the diagnosis. If it's schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, medications would be very helpful to stabilize her. It may require hospitalization. It would, obviously decrease any type of paranoid delusions. It would improve her cognition and her thinking. And so yes, that could absolutely help. If it is, however, unrelated to serious mental illness, and it's more of harming her daughter in some way for her own benefit, that's a different issue. That's something that, is reflective of something that probably can't be treated.
Dr. Jamie Zuckerman, thank you so much. We know your time's valuable. We appreciate it. Crystal is going to stick around, folks. Still to come. Can law enforcement compel Ashley Buzzard to speak?
They need to do something.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the disappearance of Melodee Buzzard and her mother's complete lack of cooperation. Here's the story. A cross-country drive turned into a haunting mystery. 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard disappeared after leaving California with her mother, Ashley. Investigators say Ashley returned home alone, offering few details about the trip or her daughter's whereabouts. Now an urgent search stretches from Santa Barbara County to the fields of the Midwest, with drones, dogs, and volunteers refusing to give up. As clues dry up and timelines blur, one question echoes halfway across the country. What happened to Melodee Buzzard?
Okay, yes, I want to go over this stuff real quick that Sage is posting in the chat, just in case you guys are unaware of this. Let me blow my screen up for a second. We do a Christmas wish campaign here, guys. This is how we do it. If you have a family member that's in need, or if you're in need, we ask you to send us an email, okay? And we only buy for kids. So you may have a grandkid or your child that may not be getting nothing for Christmas because financially you're struggling. We ask that you send us an email. You tell us what's going on, all right? You send us a picture of your kid, all right? And you also make an Amazon wish list for your child, all right, or grandchild. You send that to PJ. You don't send it to me, all right? You send it to the best soap in the game at gmail.com. Okay. I'll repeat it. Best soap in the game at gmail.com. That's our business address. Okay. PJ will read the letters and we will pick 3 families that we're going to buy Christmas for this year. One family we will be buying Thanksgiving for. All right. So I believe PJ's already picked that person, I think. So we'll be buying that family Thanksgiving this year. And then, of course, 3 people Christmas this year. So what we do is we have a Christmas wish fund that you guys can donate to. I believe that we've raised $180. Usually we start this in October, but we started late this year, right? We should have got around to it, but things were tied up. So we've raised so far $180 for our Christmas wish, and that's the money we use to buy the 3 families Christmas. Okay. So 1 family Thanksgiving, 3 families Christmas. And my mods have been posting a link. It's a Give, Send, Go link. And that fund is for the Christmas Wish Fund. So if you want to donate and help us buy these 3 families Christmas, the link will be posted by my mods. And for everybody that donated, thank you. If you donate to it, it don't alert me when you donate to it. Just throw red stop signs in the chat so I can personally thank you for the people that have donated it to. And hopefully, but time, we got, let's see, we got about 5 weeks to raise money. Okay. And the way we're going to do this is like this. Thanksgiving, the family we pick, we will send out a turkey, stuff, and all the stuff you need for Thanksgiving. We will have Walmart deliver that to your house. Okay. So that you have a good Thanksgiving dinner. On a week before Christmas, I'll take that fund and I'll buy all the top gifts in the wish list of your kid. And then we'll post it so other viewers can take part and buy things also. And we'll do that for 3 families. Also on our Dolly Vision website, Facebook group, we will post everybody's wish list. So if viewers want to buy anything from just anybody's wish list, they can. That's how we did it last year. It was very successful. So we bought a family Thanksgiving. We bought 3 families Christmas, even including Brandy Neal, Michael Monkey Vaughn's mother. And we were able to help a bunch of families in the group. Shanny B, thank you so much for donating. I've seen that. You guys are great. And hopefully we have a good support this year for it. That way we can do some nice things when Christmas time comes. So thank you guys for everybody that's been taking part in this. I know a lot of people do stuff with Toys for Tots, but we like to do it this way. That way we can see the families we helping. And we've done this for the last 3 years. We've done it for the last 3 years, and it's been pretty successful every year. And we hopefully, if we can help more than 3 people, we definitely will. It depends on how much funds are raised and stuff like that. So if you got a few extra bucks and you want to help the Christmas Wish Fund, donate to that link. And if you're a family that's in need, like I said, email Best Soap in the Game. Be real clear now about what's going on. Okay. Is it your grandchild? Is it what the situation is? Now, listen, we can't pick everybody, right? We just don't financially don't have it to be able to pick everybody. I wish we could. So the more detailed you are and, you know, and follow what we say is send PJ the story, send them a picture of your grandkids or your kids. And because we're not buying adults, right? If you're an adult, this is to make sure kids have a good Christmas. Okay. It's all about the kid. Christmas is for kids anyway. Like me, I don't really care what I get for Christmas. I'm a grown ass man. Right. But I want to make sure that there's some kids out here that may not have got something, get something really nice. Is this Vinny's channel? No, we were listening to Vinny on Court TV, but no, this is Dolly's channel. You're on Dolly Vision. So that is basically how we do our Christmas wish campaign. So you'll hear me talk about that from time to time, you know, just to remind you guys, hey, you know, Christmas is coming. If you have extra, you know, listen, I know some people don't got it. If you don't got it, don't worry about it. This is for people that have a little extra that want to help out. Okay. And if you don't got it, make sure you send us an email. You know, like I said, we may pick you, we may not, but at least you have a chance. But if you don't follow those rules, we skip right over you. So if you don't tell us who you are and what's going on in the situation, and you don't have the pictures and you don't have the wish list already made, we jump right over you. So just remember that when you're submitting everything, that you follow directions. So many people last year didn't follow directions. So many people. I mean, it's real simple. Tell us a story in the situation, right? We got to know those things. Share a picture. Already have the wish list done. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you now, if you have crazy shit on the wish list that a kid wouldn't want, we're not going to get it, right? Like if you want a new couch, there ain't no 7-year-old kid need a new couch, all right? You want a coffee table or a damn lamp, we know that ain't for a kid, right? Gifts for children should be on the wish list. Now, if it's some clothes, they need to be children's clothes. We ain't out here buying you a new wardrobe or nothing like that. We're trying to help the kids. That's the most important thing, is when a kid wakes up, they feel like Santa's real, okay? That's why we tell you guys this. If we can look at your list and tell if it's legit, we'll hear your story. We'll know if it's legit, right? We may even check into it a little bit. We may follow up with you. You know, but a week before Christmas, that's when we'll start shipping out everything. Don't be a scammer. If you are a scammer out there watching this, don't be a scammer. This is Christmas. Don't be the Grinch that stole Christmas from a little needy kid. All right. Because this stuff is important. Yeah, we've done this for 3 years, and we just want to make sure that there's some kids happy. And it's really transparent because you get to see exactly where everything goes here live. Okay. We do this live every year. We come in with the little Santa Claus hats on, and me and PJ sit down and we do this absolutely live. And, we hook some people up for Christmas and we hook some people up for Thanksgiving. If we could do 2 people for Thanksgiving this year, would be great, because I want it to grow every year just a little bit, right? You know, like if we help 3 this year, I want to help 4 next year, or 5 the following year. I want it to grow. I want people to take part in it, and let's grow it, you know. But right now, this is what we're able to do. and that's what we're going to do. You got a donation, Dolly. I need the link to be able to get to it to thank the person. I don't even have the link. All right, give me a second. Let me jump to the link and I'll thank the people that have hit it up, because I don't even have the link right now. All right, give me a second. Can I even get to the link? Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to pull this up because I don't have a way to get to it. I didn't have the link handy. I don't even have the link. Create, go live. All right, hold on. Give me a second. I'll get it from Sage. She posted it. I think PJ just sent it to me too. All right, here we go. I got it now. All right. Yeah, somebody did donate. Give me 1 second. I'll pull over here so y'all can see what's going on. Let me share this. Bam. All right. Here's the Give, Send, Go. And it gives you the rundown. Remember last Christmas like it was yesterday. The house was filled with laughs and joy. Miss Margaret donated $40. Thank you, Miss Margaret. Big virtual hugs to you. Let me heart that. Shanny B yesterday donated $20. Thank you. And Belma donated $100. Already like that. Thelma donated $40. Madonna donated $20. All right. That puts us at a total so far. And we just started this, so we're not doing bad, guys. We're not doing bad at all. My mouse sucks so bad. Let me refresh this. It puts us at a total of $220 on the Christmas wish fund. All right. That is super awesome of you guys for doing that and taking part. And like I said, a week before Christmas, we'll do a live. We'll make sure we post it. What happened, Dolly? What do you mean what happened? Yo, your mouth. What are you talking about? I don't know why I thought Turtle Island was for Christmas. I used pick names off a tree at Wawa. Yeah. But anyway, so my mods copy that link. Oh, my mouse. Yeah, my mouse is messing up. I got to get a new mouse. It's terrible. It likes to stick and not like do what it's supposed to do. So I'm due for a new one. So here soon I'll grab me a new mouse. So as like I said, if you want to be a part of the Christmas wish and you want to submit your letter, and this is the way we're going to do it. Usually me and PJ pick 3, but we may go through this and have a members only stream, and we may let the members. Dolly, does Gibson Go take a percentage? Yes. It's a small percentage, right? And I like to keep it there because I like to keep my bill money separate than the Christmas wish money. Okay. Because see, we have a travel fund, we have Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. But when I get that money, that's what I pay bills with here in the house, the light bill, the cable bill, the damn water bill, everything, food, you know. So I like to keep the money put in one account for exactly what it's for. So we don't accidentally spend none of that money on anything other than gifts for people for Christmas. Okay. Because this is what we're going to use this fund right here come Christmas. All right, a week before Christmas. That way, because we want whatever we buy to families, we want it to get there before Christmas, right? So when the kids wake up and they go to the tree, they got something, right? That's important for a small child. When you get older, you may realize that, some people will tell you, but Santa ain't real, but Santa is real. It's in the spirit of Christmas that makes Santa real. The giving, right? The giving and the smiles on kids' face tell you that Santa Claus is real. So don't be telling people, and a lot of people, when they're struggling, they'll tell their kids Santa's not real. There's going to be nothing. And that's sad, right? That dream of Santa needs to be in kids' hearts. It's something special. Like I remember as a little kid, and my mom was one of those late night people, so I would try to stay up, and she would never put nothing out. She'd make sure I was dead ass asleep. So for the longest time as a child, I believed Santa Claus was real. I still believe Santa Claus is real. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. Santa's real. He just don't like me that much, but he's real. Okay. And we're going to make him real for some very special kids this year. Can we possibly send gifts to the family's post office box? I don't know how that would work because all families don't have post office boxes, and we don't take any gifts here. We do strictly Amazon wish list. So if you can't put it on an Amazon wish list, we don't do it. Okay. Because it's completely transparent. We don't want your name, address, or nothing, because you can set up. This is for people that setting up Amazon wish lists. You don't have to put your address where we can see it. We don't want to be able to see your address. We just want to be able to send it to your house. So if you have any problems, you can possibly hit up one of the mods or PJ, and she'll walk you through how you make an Amazon wish list without showing your address. And then we ship it all to you. We don't ship it here and then ship it to you. We ship it straight to you. All right. So nothing comes here. We don't take any packages from anybody, nothing. We get up here live. We pull it up. We buy it. Right. We show everybody we bought it. We show you what's left. And if you want to get a gift off that list, you can. But usually what I do is I go in and I buy the higher price items. Like say somebody wants a pair of shoes and they're Nikes or something. So I'll go in and buy the Nikes, and then there'll be like, $20, $15, $20 toys. Then we'll let people buy from the smaller gifts. But I usually go in and take the money from the fund, and buy the top items of those three people's wish list. And then whatever's left. And every year for the last 3 years, we have wiped out the whole wish list. Now that don't mean put a million things on your wish list. Be fair. Okay. Be fair on your wish list. Don't be like too crazy. We want it to be nice stuff, but not nothing like super crazy, right? None of that. Smaller kids is what we're looking for. Single mothers, that type of stuff. People that are struggling. All right. Now, if you walk outside and you jump in your Mercedes, your ass shouldn't be sending us a letter. Okay. Now, if you walk outside and you're jumping in an 87 Ford Tempo and you ain't even got gas in it, and this bitch is halfway broke down with one dummy tire, them are the people we are looking for to send the email. Okay. If you got a dummy tire on your car right now, you eligible. Okay. That's, we want people that are in need, that really need the help. It's important. So don't take away from a family in need if you don't really need it. Hey, man, I waited all night. Well, yes, last night I didn't do Turtle Island. We are moving it to Thursday this week, right? I needed some rest. I'm trying to get my sleeping schedule back right so I can get things done. And I've been going to bed a lot earlier so I can get up early. I even did that today. So that's why I'm here with you guys in the daytime and not 3 o'clock in the morning tonight. And like I said, you're going to see a lot more of me. I got 4 ball tires. Okay. Well, that's what we're talking about. We want people that are struggling. We don't want you if you're doing good, you don't need the help. We want the people that really need the help. Well, that's how life ends up, blessing the blessed. I hate time change. Yeah, well, it's getting dark earlier, and I'm trying to get everything back on schedule. As far as me, because I've been up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every night, 4 o'clock in the morning, going to bed at like 6 a.m. And then I'm sleeping all day, and I'm not getting nothing done. So I'm trying to get my schedule back right on a good time frame. Okay, she gave a donation. Jessica did. Jessica, thank you so much. Let me pull it up. Where is it at? Okay. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. Let me refresh it. Army Mom just gave $30. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Dolly and PJ, for helping these children. Let's heart that. Susan J, $10. Thank you, Susan J. Nash donated a bit in honor of my 2 kiddos. Okay. Thank you. Thank you to your kiddos. Miss Margaret, we got. So now we're up to, let me refresh it because my mouse sucks. Oh, come on now. Come on. I tried to stroll up. It went all the way down. Now it left the campaign. Shit. We're on somebody else's campaign now. Okay, we raised $280, which is a good amount of money so far. All right. I figure we do that about 3 more times and we're almost there. Nina, thank you, Nina. So every little bit helps. But like I said, if you don't got it, don't worry about it. This is for people that have a little bit of extra and want to help out on Christmas. All right. And Thanksgiving, because we're going to buy, I'm hoping to buy 2 families Thanksgiving, but we know we're at least buying 1 family Thanksgiving. So I'm not too far from getting out of here. I am going to be editing this podcast right at the beginning, the first hour of this down, and I will have it up sometime tomorrow where you can listen to it on, your Alexa can play it, right? And in the future, PJ is going to join me on the podcast, and we're also looking for 1 more person. So it'll be 3 of us doing the podcast for an hour, and I want to do 2 a week. Okay. And so if you want to join the podcast, send me an email. I'm only picking 1 person. You got to have a good voice. All right. So to join me and PJ to go over true crime cases, and it may not be all 3 of us each time. It may be just me and you, or maybe me and PJ. But I'm looking for 1 more person to join me and PJ in the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. All right. And like I said, that'll air on Amazon Music for sure. And soon it'll go up on Spotify and everywhere else you can listen to podcasts at. All right. So, and it'll be 2 a week on the podcast. Like we're going to do, they'll air Friday and I believe Monday. All right. So every Friday night, every Monday, they'll go up and you can listen to them on any of your favorite podcasts and platforms. How much you paying? A whole lot of nothing. Now, if the podcast makes money, which it can eventually, and sponsors, and it does good numbers, then yeah, we will pay the 3rd person. But right now there's no money in it. There's no advertisers. There's no nothing. It don't make money. But if it does make money, we're willing to split that money with the 3rd person perfect. But it may take a little while, right? And then once the podcast takes off, which it will become the greatest podcast in true crime history, it's just a matter of time, right? Then yeah, then it becomes an even split. But we don't make any money off of it. It's for the love of true crime right now. I ain't saying it won't never make any money, but right now it don't make a penny. All right. I'm going to shop for Thanksgiving to donate single mom with kids. Okay, me, Dolly. Sweet Leaf, I don't know. You're a little crazy. I don't think you got the voice I'm looking for. All right. Truly, not to be mean. There's something I'm looking for, right? There's a sound. And there's like I want you to be true crime fanatic. Okay. I'm looking for somebody that knows everything about true crime and has the right voice. It can't just be anybody. It has to be that right person. And I'll know the person when I find them. All right. You got to be able to bring something to the table to discuss. You got to be a talker, right? And if you want to take part, you're going to have to send me a sample of you doing the podcast, right? By yourself. So come up with a true crime story. Introduce yourself. Say, this is the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. You're joining me today. We're going to talk blah, blah, blah. Go into what you want to talk about. Send me about a 10-minute sample of that, 10, 15 minutes. Because the show runs an hour. But if you can hold your own for 10 or 15 minutes of that, that's what I'm looking for. But you got to have the voice. You got to have the knowledge, right? And be ready to rock and roll twice a week. Live right here. Okay? Now, you don't have to show yourself. All right? Even when we're live, you don't have to show yourself. I was going to make people show themselves. Now, if you want to show yourself, that's even better. Okay? But if you don't, it ain't no big deal because people will see me here live and they're going to hear the audio on Spotify and Amazon. So that's the most important thing. I just donated and I really like the idea about doing a members only live to help pick the families. Okay. Let me refresh this. Okay. We're at 310 now. Sean, it says, I know it's not much. Listen, guys, it don't have to be much. There's a lot of us. There's thousands of people that watch this channel. So you don't have to give a lot. If you give anything, thank you so much. Big virtual hugs to you, right? I mean, basically, if everybody that watched gave $1, $1, we would be able to do so much awesome stuff because you got to remember my videos average. Like right now, this video has, I'll tell you how many plays it has. Right now, this video has 3,000 plays. 3,000 people have watched this so far tonight. So just think, if 3,000 people gave up $1, we would be at $3,000 to buy people Christmas. So, but we know that ain't going to happen. Some people just, they ain't going to give you shit, right? They just ain't. But $5, that adds up. Okay. So if you can give $5, I think that's the minimum you can give up here. If you can do the very minimum, the $5 donation, thank you. Thank you guys. Because listen, some people, $100 ain't much. Some people, $5 is a lot to them. And it's the same. It just depends how much you can give, right? You don't have to give 100. You don't, if you can, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you. But we love everybody. And it's about helping people. That's it. It's just about helping people. And the more people we got that can cough up a few bucks, the more we're going to be able to do live. Right. And when we're doing it, that's usually when people want to give. But by then, it's kind of late. We We need people to get involved beforehand. When they see what we're doing, everybody wants to dolly here, 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 here. But we need it prior, because that way we're able to judge what we can do. Right. And we know we're going to help 3 families. That's usually what we always do. So, but if we can squeeze in more, that would be great. You know, the more the merrier is the way I look at it. And we're going to do some things to raise money too. We're going to have little auctions on my Kick. So if you haven't added my Kick yet, we're going to do like little giveaways and different types of raffles and prizes. But we're going to do that on my Kick, because YouTube's funny about stuff like that here. So we can't do it here, but we can do it on my Kick. So make sure you add my Kick if you haven't. And that's only if you want to be a part of all this. And my Kick is the real Dolly Vision. So I usually do my movie nights over there. I do anything that has to do with anything that may break any rules of YouTube. I do them on another platform. I stick to where I don't violate TOS service agreements here. Okay. So Sage just posted my Kick. If you haven't added it, add it. And like I said, we're going to do some giveaways over there. We're going to do some fundraising over there to go into the Christmas Wish. We're going to have different autographed things that we're going to be giving away or selling. I'm not quite sure how everything's going to go yet. But this month is what we're going to probably near the end of the month is when we're really going to start pushing, for our Christmas Wish Fund. So in the beginning, we got just a couple weeks before we got to buy, because, Christmas is 24th, right? So we got to get it out a week before that. So we got up until about the 15th to make sure everything is to you by Christmas for the families we do pick. All right. And then I guess we need to get your letters in by the first week of December. Okay. So by December 7th, we'll say is the cutoff. So if you're a family in need, send us a letter. Tell us what's going on. Send a picture of your family, the child you're trying to help. It'll go to PJ. It don't go to no weird people. Okay. And have the wish list already made so we can look at the wish list. That's all we ask. 3 things. Say them back with me. Letter telling us what's happening and why you're in need. Picture so we know who the child is. Amazon wish list. All right. Don't send it in 3 different emails. If you got to send it in 1 email. And let me tell you, and this is bad, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you can't follow directions, we're going to skip you. All right. I know that sucks, don't it? Because people make mistakes, but if you don't follow directions, we're going to skip you. We need those 3 things. When I go in there and be like, PJ, is all 3 things there? And she goes, yeah, I'm going to be like, okay, well, read me the story. And then we want to be able to bring it up here and tell the story of what's going on. We may not say your name of who you are, but we will tell your circumstances to our members. So the members, we can vote and pick the families. Okay. So we'll leave your name out privacy wise. We'll leave your name out, but we will tell what is going on with your family and what struggles you're going through. But we won't say who it is. And then, of course, we'll have your Amazon wish list. All right, right there. Said it best. Letter, picture, Amazon wish list. Simple. Right? We don't need your address. We don't need that. We don't want that. All right? We don't want to know where you live. We don't want to know where you're from. But it don't matter. When you set up the wish list, set up your address privately. So it don't show your address. It just shows your name. Like usually people, let's just say your kid's name's Jake. It'll be like Jake's wish list. And then you click on it. When you buy something, it'll send it to your address. You just don't show your address. Okay. It'll just automatically go to you. Because when somebody buys it, it'll say, do you want it to send it to you or do you want to send it to Jake? And then you just click on Jake when you're buying it and it sends it to Jake, right? Not that your kid's name is Jake, but I'm just using that as a reference. If anyone's clear, calm, true crime, talking junkie, contact, no, you don't send it to best soap in the game. You send that to me. You send that to jimmyjam757@gmail.com. All right. You send it to me, short legs. If you want to take part in this and you want to try out, I need a 10-minute video, at least audio. It could be video, but you don't have to show yourself, but just the audio of you doing a solo Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. 10 minutes. And if you can talk clear by yourself for 10 minutes, of course, I know you can hold a conversation with me. So then it'll carry the show to hour length. But I just want 10 minutes to hear your voice, to hear how knowledgeable you are about true crime and those things. And then that's how we will pick the third person. Because sometimes it'll be like this. It'll be me and PJ. Sometimes it'll be me, PJ, and you. Sometimes it'll be me and you and not PJ. It's whoever is available at that time that I'm like, okay, it's time to shoot this shit. Let's do it. Whoever's available. So we may pick 2 people and rotate. All right. So I might pick 2 people to do the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. But that don't mean you'll be on every show. It just means I will use you when one person's not available. So we'll have a regular and then we'll have a standby. Okay. So if one of the regulars can't make it, we got to fill in. So there's always 3 people discussing true crime. Make sense? All right. And then we're going to air it everywhere. And that's how we'll do it. As needed. Yeah. As needed person. Right. And this ain't a vote in thing. This is I select a person. And I'm telling you, I'm looking for a certain thing. Right. I'm looking for a certain thing. It just is what it is. Right. Don't be like, pick me, Dolly. Do what I said. You want to be a part of it? Do what I said. If it's what I'm looking for, I pick you. If it ain't what I'm looking for, I don't care if we're best friends. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The podcast has to be the best podcast in the world within 1 year. All right. Taking over everything. So it has to be the right people. It has to be the right vibe to make it happen. So let's do it. All right. And who wants to be part of the greatest podcast in the world? You. I know you're out there. You just gotta do 10 minutes and send it to me. Don't be scared. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Who cares? You know, you still get to watch Dolly Vision. If I do like it, you may be one of the people I pick, or you may be an alternate. You know, like if somebody don't show, hey, we got this person as a backup. We got this person. So there's always a group of people, right? A little community of, you know, that way if one person falls out, we got somebody to slide right on in your place. But I like the concept of at least 3. And so at least 2 more people. We need a third person and an alternate. So get those 10-minute clips shot. If you want to show yourself, you can. If you don't, that's fine. Just send me the audio. I do ask that you be knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And if you have decent equipment, that's a plus, right? A decent microphone. And let me tell you, if this is something you want to do and you think, invest in yourself. Go buy you a decent little microphone. You can get them at Walmart for like $60, a Snowball or a Yeti. I started my channel with that. Now, I mean, I got an expensive mic now, but I did have a cheap ass mic. They work fine. Snowball works good. The Yeti mics work fine. And they range from $50 to $100. So you're going to need a good microphone, a good set of headphones. All right. And because we don't want shitty sound. You got to have at least decent sound. That's what I'm listening for when you send me your stuff, that your equipment is decent. But you ain't got to have you ain't got to have stuff like I got, right? But you got to have at least a starter pack, a pair of headphones so you don't feedback. And of course, a decent microphone. Sound good? Everybody sound good to everybody? And like I said, thank you for everybody that took part tonight. And I'm going to get that edited. It will be up. It will broadcast probably Friday. What's the day? Wednesday? Yeah, it'll broadcast Friday. I just got to download the first hour of this, edit it a little bit, throw in some background music, my intro, and it'll air the podcast starter pack. Yeah. And you never know. If you want to take part, we may just use you people as alternates. Like there's alternate number 1, there's alternate number 2, alternate number 3. So if you submit your audio, I will give you an alternate number, right? So maybe I'll use everybody, but I'll use you on certain shows, okay? As I need alternates. Like I may go, okay, I need an alternate night. Let me pick alternate number 1. Next week I may need another alternate. Well, let me pick alternate number 2. Some days I may do a show with just the alternates. Depends on how good you are when we're here and how the chemistry works and how the viewers react to you. Okay. That's important. Who people like and how people vibe and how everything meshes together. Because I want it to be good. I want it to be really good. And I think with the people we have here, we can create a really, really good podcast that people are really interested in. And it will do well. Okay. And that'll bring new views to Dolly Vision. Okay. Because, of course, on Spotify and Amazon, we're going to plug all this and all that good stuff. Right. And then it'll be a good place for me to advertise my new book that is coming. Dolly's writing a book. Author, podcaster, YouTuber, the greatest to ever do it. And then I got a place to sell my book. Okay. Strategy. You ever notice that every expert is either author or podcaster so I gotta follow all those things, right? I'm just like, okay, everybody else is a damn wrote a book. I'll sell it right on Amazon. You'll be able to buy it $19.99. This girl knows her true crime. Okay, well, you got to send a 10-minute, nobody's special. All right. You can been here 5 years. If you don't follow directions, just like I said on the Christmas wish thing, Short Leg said, I told you need a book. I'm going to get one. Don't worry. It's coming. Directions are the most important thing, that you can follow directions. Yeah, if you ain't liked the video and you ain't been sharing my videos, I'm definitely not picking you. All right. People got to get back to liking the videos and sharing the videos and all that good stuff. Yes, 3 easy payments of $19.99. Give Lolo a treat. All right, I definitely will. You're frozen. I should be good by now. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Y'all be good. Stay great. I will see y'all later tonight around 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, hopefully, if I don't fall asleep. But like I said, if you want to be part of the podcast, get your 10 minutes together. Something good in true crime. And send it to Jimmy Jams, Jamz 757 at gmail.com. All right, mods, put that in the chat so they know where to send it. Okay. 10 minutes, audio, your favorite true crime. Make sure you say you're listening to the Don't Wake Up Dead podcast. I'm your host, so and so, whatever your name is. Blah blah blah. We're discussing and go into it. Make sure you speak clearly, sound all right, record it, send it to me. And I will see you guys later tonight. Dolly loves you. Peace.